Call to order. The Open Public Meeting Act, 1975, Chapter 23. According to the Open Public Meeting Act, this meeting of April 9th, 2025 was published in the Bergen Record and Herald News on January 8th, 2025, and was sent to the Our Town. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Apici.
Present.
Committeewoman Artola.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Miller.
Here.
Committeeman Chewinski.
Here.
And Mayor Judge Covello.
Here. May we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Well, welcome everyone. We have a nice crowd, a big crowd here tonight. And the first thing is the approval of the agenda. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make the motion.
May I have a second?
A second.
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Apici.
Yes.
Committeewoman Artola.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller.
Yes.
Committeeman Chewinski.
Yes.
And Mayor Judge Covello.
Yes. So next on the topic here is the swearing in of our township clerk, and that's Mrs. Gina Kim. May I have you come forward, please, with your family if you'd like.
You want to record this one?
No. Yes.
Sit in a chair, that's fine. He wants to sit.
Does he want to sit down?
Want to sit in a chair? I love him.
He wants to run around.
That's okay.
Does anybody,
There's all this stuff. The stuff that was on.
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America
of the United States of America
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and alliance to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state under the authority
under the authority
of the people,
of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform all the duties of office of township clerk according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Can you just sign this?
Yes.
Okay, and the next one. At least one was good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations, your family is beautiful.
Very good. Where is? We'll get to that in a second. Grab that. Where's my phone? So welcome Mrs. Kim, and she'll be starting a week from today on the 16th. We look forward to you being here in our township and moving forward. Thank you again for coming. And if you want to stay, that's fine with your family. I know the baby's probably tired, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing is the proclamation for Autism Awareness Month. Okay, so proclamation. April is Autism Awareness Month, whereas autism spectrum disorder represents a broad spectrum group of disorders that vary widely from mild to severe and is characterized by differently with social interaction, communication, severely limited interest, and repetitive behavior. And whereas the Center of the CDC studies have New Jersey has among the highest autism prevalence rate in the country. And whereas the nature of autism and other developmental disabilities require a variety of type of assistance at different points in an individual's life. And whereas a variety of public and private organizations and agencies strive to provide quality care, support, or service to children and adults with autism to enable them to live as independently as possible and to reach their full potential. And whereas each organization has a role in identifying, assessing, and supporting people with autism and their families. Whereas the Office of Autism and Department of Human Services, the state of New Jersey, provides a central location to address autism issues. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Teresa Judge Crivello, the Mayor of the Township of Rochelle Park, Bergen County, New Jersey, do hereby proclaim August 2025 as Autism Awareness Month.
April.
Sorry, April? What did I say? Sorry, April. In the Township of Rochelle Park, and encourage our residents to become educated and informed about programs, services, and opportunities to support individuals with autism. So this is our proclamation for April 2025. You can read them. Yes, please.
Mayor Judge Crivello asks for a motion to adopt resolution number 025-125, a resolution to fly the autism awareness flag on the township flagpole.
May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Committeewoman Apici?
Yes.
Committeewoman Artola?
No, I vote no on all flags.
Deputy Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Committeeman Truinsky?
Yes.
And Mayor Judge Crivello.
Yes. Okay, very good, thank you. So this is the autism flag. Motion is moved with majority. And here is what will be flying on the flagpole. I believe probably tomorrow morning, we can get it up. I'm trying to get it right. Okay, here we go. We're now on the backward way. And this is what it looks like. Anybody else have a question? This is the autism flag. That'll be fine. Thank you to all.
Mayor, may I add something?
Okay.
I just want to
Go ahead.
announce that the flag was donated by the Houghton family here in Rochelle Park.
Thank you to the Houghton family. And I'd like to say something a little bit here about the autism awareness. Let's get my paperwork. So, today's proclamation. Today is a significant day for our township. In a moment, we went through recognizing Autism Awareness Month by a proclamation. And let me tell you, this isn't just another proclamation. Autism touches so many of our neighbors and friends and family. This month is about seeing people who really are different minds, ways, and experiences of the world, but are all part of what our community as a whole is. As your mayor, I want to celebrate our community. That means so much to me. I've lived here my entire life. I've walked these streets and raised my children here in this town. This place matters to me. What matters most is that everyone who lives here feels like they truly belong. The beautiful people in our town that live with autism, they are our neighbors, our children, classmates, who we see at ShopRite, browsing in our bookstores or library. They're part of our fabric of Rochelle Park. And parents and caregivers, I don't think most of us really understand what they do for their children. The extra worries, the fights with insurance companies, the IEP meetings, the therapies, the victories that might seem small to others, but are actually huge. These folks aren't just raising their kids, they are moving mountains every single day, often without any notice. They're exhausted at many times, and they're determined, and they deserve our support, not just today, but every day. This is why this proclamation matters. It's not just words. It's us saying, as a township, we see you, we value you, and we are committed to making Rochelle Park a place that is inclusive, accessible, to where everyone can thrive, where everyone is celebrated and feels like they belong, because that's the place I want everyone to think about when they say Rochelle Park is their home. So I'd like to ask the Township Committee to join me in front of the dais. More importantly, with profound respect and admiration, I want to invite any Rochelle Park families who have had special need relationship with autism to come stand with us, because this moment, this proclamation, is about all of us acknowledging something important together. It's about saying that in our community, no one will walk alone. So let's head out to the front of the dais, and the Rochelle Park families who have any autism relationship, please come up and join us. Thank you. All right.
Hey, buddy. Good, how you doing? Hi.
Walter, you want my hat?
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you
So thank you to everyone that came this evening. We're going to continue on with the meeting, and like I said, the flag will be placed for tomorrow. Mr. Pinto, Administrator has it, and it should go up sometime tomorrow. Anybody else have any comments at this point? No? All right, great.
Oh,
Yes, yes.
The ice cream social.
We'll get to that. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. Yes, thank you. All right, moving forward, let's see, we have correspondence. Any correspondence?
And I think Jen.
Yes.
Jen? Yes.
April 1st, I received the resignation of Bertha Snyder from Recreation. She's been on Recreation for about 30 years.
Maybe even longer.
Maybe longer.
Maybe longer.
Yeah.
She resigned as of April 1st.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Schneider. You will be very much missed, and tonight I do have a couple of appointments that I'll be making also
Thank you.
for the rec. And Mr. Miller?
yeah. Access for All is hosting an autism awareness ice cream social event at Heart to Heart in Rochelle Park. The event will feature the Ice Cream Lady with her ice cream truck, along with karaoke hosted by me, a sensory gym for children 12 and under, and a Touch a Truck event hosted by our volunteer fire department. It's all happening on Thursday, April 17th from 6 to 8 p.m. at 17 Legion Place in Rochelle Park. Thank you.
Very good. Anyone else? Not at this point? Oh, okay, very good. Let's see, this is discussion. So we have department head budget proposals. Who'd like to start on that?
Yeah, James. James.
All right, Mr.
James, you like to
Maria?
sit, maybe just sit at the table. It's easier if you like.
Yeah, grab a seat.
You may have to turn that mic on.
I don't know, yeah, I don't know if that's.
Manually turn it on?
Yeah.
Make sure you have a red button lit up on the bottom.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're on. Okay. Okay, so before you, you have the 2025 UCC budget, which incorporates code enforcement, land use, and construction activities within the township. In 2024, we had approximately $16,000 in expenditures to operate the office. In the 2025 proposed, I believe there's about $20,000 currently allocated. I have no capital request for 2025. For line items within my department, permit software, which is spatial data logic, which is utilized to issue permits, violations, and track all fees that come into the office, $12,750. Telephone, which is 3 cell phones for an inspector and code enforcement and 2 other inspectors, $1,750. Copy machine rental, $2,500. $500 for code books, $500 for uniforms and PPE, $1,000 for office supplies, and $1,000 for other expenditures. The anticipated increases from is due to obviously inflation on a lot of office items, and there's a slight additional fee that might occur for the SDL hosting services and the new lead module that we use to track the lead inspections we do. Currently, SDL is used by 6 departments: building, zoning, land use, recreation, lead, and code enforcement. Some special future considerations I would like the committee to possibly look into is hiring a backup plumbing and electrical inspector to be utilized on an as-needed basis, and acquire software to assist with tracking floodplain development permits and outreach. It's a little costly, but they're the only one in the game, and that would be $12,000. So not right off the bat, but in the future, we probably we'll have to get something with all the new rules coming down.
So you're not looking at for this budget?
Look, if there's money,
Yeah.
I highly doubt it. So, this is the bare minimum to keep our, our doors open. With salary and wages, I think we're around $200,000. Typically, we bring in between $300,000 and $400,000 a year. So, we're, very below, we definitely pay for ourselves.
Yeah.
But that's all I have.
Okay, thank you so much. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I do. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for being here.
No problem.
Just a question on the code books. That's for updates to the code books, or is that for new code books? And is that hard copies, or are you talking about digital? You have digital available?
So, we, depending on the year, sometimes it's, last year it was much higher because, the 2021 code, and changes, but, it's just, whatever comes up, we try using the stuff, online, obviously, that's available, but, it's a just in case, I think last year we spent $191, for, the new electrical code and stuff. But, this year, we're, not anticipating anything, but, you never know, but, better safe than sorry. It's not a huge amount, but, just enough, just in case.
Thank you.
No problem.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Jimmy.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see, I guess, the next would be what, courts? right?
Patricia, yep.
There's Patricia, hi. And I meant to say this, but if you could keep it to 3 minutes, that'd be great.
Oh, yes,
Okay,
sure.
Great,
Will
thank
do.
you.
Good evening, everyone. For those who don't know who I am, my name is Patricia Grakowski, and I'm a municipal court administrator for the past almost 3 years. So the reason why we had to ask for a little more money in our budget this year is because of our caseload increased. And our revenue proves it, especially our last month revenue. Officers are issuing more tickets. They're also issuing more complaints. Recently, the court went back to suspending licenses and registrations. This is causing a lot of people contacting the court to either pay the fine or appear in court. Also, our court sessions are heavier now. And the reason why we had to ask for a little more money in our budget in other expenses is because the more people we're going to have in court, it means that we're going to have to use more supplies. We're going to have to have more interpreters. And I guess this is it.
Patricia?
Yes.
Could you tell the public how much approximately an interpreter is for one session?
$225
For one session?
one session,
Right.
up to 3 hours.
Right. And also, from what I've seen, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the court's revenue went up 10,000 compared to last year. Is that correct?
For the month.
Actually,
For the month
I
of
had,
March.
yes,
For the month of March.
just in that 1 month, yes.
So that's quite an increase.
Exactly.
All right.
And the difference from 2023 and 2024 revenue is 45,000.
Increase, right.
Increase.
Increase, right.
Correct.
Very good. All right, any questions? No? All right, thank you so much,
Thank
Patricia.
you.
Okay. Mr. Greco, I see you back there. Mr. Greco is our fire chief.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Forgive me, I have to read my
No
points
worries.
off my
No
phone. I didn't have time to stop and print this evening. Reviewing my budget from last year and the proposed budget for this year, I know we took a decrease. However, I think we should be okay. I know everybody's getting hit. That's just our climate right now. I just wanted to touch on a few points, being our annual testings, which is our pump testing, hose testing, and ladder testing of all the equipment. It's yearly required through NFPA. There is an increase in those testings, as well as all the companies are now implementing a fuel surcharge to come out to us.
Oh,
So that's bumping the price up a little bit. We're seeing in total about $1,000 more than last year for all of the testings combined.
Right.
As well as we've implemented a new software in the firehouse. We started it the end of last year. That software is going to run about $7,500 a year. That's in comparison to our old software was just about $4,000. So that's a bit different, but we get a lot more out of this software. There's a lot more to it now, a lot more use and versatility interdepartment as well. We can communicate through fire prevention, building department. We can upload a lot of information and have a lot more available to us at the ready. My question for you, I noticed in the breakdown, the LoSAP funding went down. Is that just due to removing of the ambulance corps?
I can answer that. So it's based on an actual number of what we need to put in based on the membership and the numbers overall. We know what, again, don't forget, we pay what you've submitted is what we had to budget for this year. So we had the actual number.
Does that account for the yearly increase?
It will. We'll worry about that next year because, again, you're always a year behind with the LoSAP.
We're a year behind. Okay.
But that's the actual number that we had to provide. We'll have to provide to the company.
Okay.
Based on your chart that you submitted.
Thank you. My only other thing, I believe it was mentioned earlier, and I spoke to my fire commissioner about it, increase in our clothing allowance line to add a line for the fire department mechanic.
yes, we have that, Mr. Greco. I believe it was, we've discussed it, so I'll discuss, I don't know if you were here, Gail, and we had a quick discussion on it, was that Mr. Holtzman at the fire department does a lot of the mechanical for the fire trucks?
He does a lot of the repairs on the rigs, whatever he's able to do. Obviously, he doesn't have a lot of the equipment needed for some of the bigger jobs, but he keeps a lot of the smaller jobs in-house, which saves a significant amount of money. The companies that repair these apparatus, we have them come in. it's a minimum of $130 an hour labor rate. So having ex-Chief Holzman fully certified and able to do a lot of the stuff in-house does save a significant amount of money.
And this is a stipend position from what I'm seeing here. And it'll be $500 for the year.
Correct.
Okay.
Which would get paid out same time of the year as the clothing allowance, the yearly
Okay.
clothing allowance.
So, just checking on some of the other mechanical stuff in other towns, I'm guesstimating at this point there, it's quite much more significant in a dollar figure than $500.
Yes.
Neighboring towns do have mechanics also.
They have full-time mechanics through their DPWs. We don't have that.
And because he has experience in this, I think he works full-time doing this, correct?
Yeah, he's fully certified. He's worked for Fire and Safety. They're the Pierce manufacturer, main dealer in New Jersey. And he currently is employed in the city of Hackensack Fire Department as their department mechanic.
Right, so this was just added tonight because it was just brought up a little while ago. I don't have an objection, but we can actually take a vote on it if you'd like.
Well, Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
so what we did, Mayor, is we put it within the salary ordinance that's before this committee tonight. We didn't put it under clothing allowance. I put it underneath the fire department secretary because, again, it's still a stipend that'll get paid out at the end of the year. That's where we put it. We made it a position within the township. Should this committee agree to that, there's a range between $300 and $600, max, right, and low of $300. And that won't be paid out until such time as, again, you come before us and say, this is the person I want, this is the number, we're saying 500, and then a salary resolution gets done, and that's usually done after the budget passes a couple months down the road. But it is in there for tonight. It'll be introduced. Thank you.
So under that introduction, it will be the vote. So, whoever decides, whatever they want to decide, it'll be there. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
If anybody has any questions for me at any point, please don't hesitate to contact me.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, anybody else?
So, Mayor, if I may, I know I spoke with Mr. Rapice from Recreation as well as through the liaison, and I know they've gone through the proposed budget and their proposed programs, and they're satisfied with the amount that's being allotted to Recreation. I spoke to our fire prevention, our fire official. He's away at the OEM, the current conference down in Atlantic City, but in speaking with him, if you choose to have him come next meeting, he will, but he says, again, he's fine with the allotment, and his ultimate goal is very much like the building department, to bring in enough revenue that they're covering themselves anyway.
That's fire prevention.
That's
right?
fire prevention, correct. Our Office of Emergency Management Coordinator also couldn't be here, but he is going to be asked, or he has asked to be on the agenda for our next meeting. If there's no other department heads, I guess it's me.
Okay.
Do you prefer I go sit at the
Please do.
table?
Okay.
So again, I'll keep it try to keep it under 3 minutes, but I do have packets here as far as salary and wages go, and I'll give each committee member one of these. And it's basically the cost of services to the taxpayer, and I'll keep it simple. And these go back to 2018 using the numbers from all the budgets. And back in 2018, the cost of your police department, and this includes operating and salary and wages, comes to, and this was in 2018, it cost the average taxpayer $855.91 per year at $2.34 today, and there's a few years in here, but currently under the introduced budget numbers, the police department costs the average home $1,010.95 or $2.77 per day, and that includes both with the leasing on the operating budget as well as the increase to the operating budget. And I know there's been some questions as to the increase since 2018, 2019. There was this little thing in 2020, and I wasn't the chief in 2020. I became chief in August. I didn't have anything to do with that budget, but I believe it was reduced down to $87,800, and then this little thing called COVID occurred. And COVID changed the world as we know. And and like Mr. DiMaria spoke about, the recurring licensing fees, and even Mr. Fire Chief Greco just alluded to it, software today runs everything. I have recurring fees, which include not only the licensing fees, the software fees, but also our supplies that we order for ammunition, first aid, defibrillator equipment, and those recurring fees added up in 2024 by taking my expenditures, I looked at it, to $116,100.68. That doesn't include the paper clips, the staples, the envelopes we need for records, the USB and CD-ROMs that we are obligated to provide for those who ask for OPA requests, discovery requests. They all get done through the police department. So again, I'm very okay with the number that's provided in the budget. I think that actually overall, to not, or to risk sound like Roy Rigatano, I actually do think this is a very good budget overall for the township, and I'm very okay with the number provided to the police department, simply because, again, in 2024, we had to outlay about $11,000 for 2 new police officers' equipment, and that would include their gun, their sidearms, their rifles, their portable radios, their belts, their vests, all of that equipment. When a new officer comes in, we buy that up front. We don't buy that when officers are active. We do provide vests. That's usually done through some grant money or through bonding. But again, trying to keep it under 3 minutes, Mayor, I am very satisfied with the numbers provided.
So the deduction in the police department for the 10,000, is that going to affect the training?
So my initial thought was, when I got asked where would I cut that money, was discretionary training. And what we still do and will do, and no, it's not going to affect the training. What we can still do.
So the answer is no.
The answer is no. But I want for transparency, I want the public to hear it. We actually use forfeiture funds for that. So I have to outlay the money, and then I can put it through the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office to get reimbursement. Those numbers are not going to affect the safety of the residents or the service that we provide.
Great. So last year, I don't know if everybody picked it up, then Chief Pinto said that they had to uniform 2 police officers. I looked at some of the, I think it was a little closer to 12,000, maybe a little over, and the budget was cut by 10. So we're not out, there's no more police officers being hired this year that I know of, knock wood, right? But, so that really is a little $2,000 addition to that, if you want to kind of do basic math on it. But there was a concern, and legitimately so, could this affect any training?
It will not.
It will not.
It will not.
So I just want to make sure everybody understands that. All right.
Can I clarify that? But last meeting you said that it would.
I did. So that was my initial reaction was, look, I would cut.
And you said you told the officers that they would have to.
I would cut discretionary training.
Right. So now they can do that though?
Because I will still be able to grant training.
Even the discretionary?
Correct.
Okay.
Great. Anybody else have questions? No? Okay, great. Thank you very much, Chief.
You're welcome.
Okay, so then anybody else here, or any other department heads? I don't see anyone else here. No, all right. Thank you, everybody, for coming this evening. Kathy?
Do you want to speak about Edmonds?
Yeah, you know what, if we could, so from finance, if we'll give Kathy her 3 minutes.
Okay, Kathy. Come on.
You're good at this. It's not public, it's just us. So what Kathy's about to speak about is we've been using Unidex here in Rochelle Park since the year of the flood.
Right.
For a horrible.
So we're looking
yeah,
at
exactly.
upgrading to Edmonds software, which is a system software that most towns use nowadays. Not many are staying on Unidex. And the Edmonds software interacts between tax and finance better than the Unidex software. The Unidex is 2 different programs. They really don't interact. There's no GL right now I do a manual GL.
General ledger.
General GL. Yeah, general ledger. So this would be all integrated. There's reports that are easier for the committee to look at if they wanted to, that we can run.
Yeah, you would actually be able to see as a department head is submitting their purchase order.
Yeah, so everything will be
requests.
online. The requisitions will be
We can still make
online.
paper for you, Mayor.
Yes,
I like paper.
everybody will have access to
I'm not the only
submit
one.
and sign.
One sit next to you likes paper too. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Everybody will have access to submit online. The approval will be all online. It'll decrease the paper because everything's online. We can scan invoices or whatever backup to be attached to the file so that we can reduce more paperwork. So I've used it. I think it's going to be a better system.
Yeah, so in speaking to Roy, if I may, Kathy.
Yes.
And Mayor, if I may, in speaking with our CFO, we would be able to bond for this because, again, the cost is outside the normal, wiggle room within the budget.
So you upstart it, it's about $60,000.
$63,000.
So you're looking for a bond for this?
Not right now, but we will. Kathy's here.
Right now, because it's a 16-month waiting list for us to get it.
Oh,
about, they
Wow.
told me.
So I'm going to be
but-
sitting with the CFO in an upcoming week or two, going over some of these bond requests. And I can tell you the police department's going to have a couple, because I didn't mention it, so I'll hijack Kathy for a moment. We talked about the trailer that we have down at the range is literally, was a donated construction trailer. It's filled with beehives, mold, and it's falling over. Actually, in speaking with an expert that sits up on his dais in construction, were able to provide me with some ideas and thoughts about what we may need. So the proposal will have those numbers to put basically a garage structure there, so we could use it for both storage, but put a split unit so it has AC and heat. So when we do our training, because we do house a computer down there for the firearm simulator, which I invite any committee person ever, if they ever want to do that, you see how quick you have to make a decision. As well as some other small things that we have to buy a new Alka-Test machine this year at $30,000. We will be able to reimburse that via the DDEF fund, which is a drunk driving enforcement fund, but we have to outlay it. And there'd be some technology equipment that the police department would be asking for.
can I have the funds that you're seizing, any of those funds be used toward this?
So they could be, but again, you have to make the initial purchase.
Okay. and
So,
then-
as a matter of fact, that firearm simulator was actually purchased from forfeiture funds years ago. But, so any purchase that you do, and we've done that, so I literally just found out yesterday, I attended a Bergen County Police Chiefs meeting. I sat on the executive board and we were talking about it. The prosecutor's office is actually going to reimburse us for $2,500 that we were initially assessed additionally this year in dues and fees. And that's to outfit the rapid deployment force in light of the World Cup. So I was like, all right, that's a huge hit out of my budget, but it's not anymore. So why, again, my topic about changing and what we can afford this year under our OE, I just got $2,500 back. So what we can submit through that, and I will tell you, it's become a little more increasingly difficult. The Attorney General's office over the last 5-6 years kind of doesn't, you can't purchase guns, radios, things of that nature. They prefer you buy umbrellas and shirts for the residents and community outreach things, but they will still reimburse furniture. We bought the Detective Bureau $5,700 worth of furniture last year. The town purchased it. The county reimbursed us out of our criminal forfeiture fund. And those criminal funds come from people that are bad people that have been convicted of doing bad things and stealing money that we can't return to a rightful owner because we don't know who that is.
Right. Now, I do remember meeting with you, and I went to meet our late Congressman Pascarella, who unfortunately passed away. But I do remember him at that time saying that there are grants that we could look at for our police department. Is there one way of checking with Millennium maybe and see if there's something out there that you could apply for?
So we're part of our service with Millennium is I have access to their portal, and they send out, if not monthly, bi-weekly, here's the newest grants that are out, and we continue to look. And I converse with them probably on a bi-weekly basis saying, hey, if there's anything. Most of those grants, though, are not going to be listed because they're legislative types, very similar to the one you were able to help procure through
Yes.
Assemblywoman Swain.
Right.
It works the same way with the federal government. If your congressperson is proactive and truly goes to, bang the tables down in D.C., they can steer money our way. Those are typically how those grants work. So we need to be in touch with our current congresswoman and remind.
I just talked to her today.
Perfect.
And I'll get into that a little bit. All right. Thank you, Kathy. Is there more?
No, I just have to let them know as soon as possible to get on the waiting list, so
We have to do it.
whenever you can discuss that. Thank you.
You got it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kat.
Thank you. Yeah. So Kathy, speaking with council, we'd have to do a bond ordinance for that, and that would have to be voted on. I mean, we can look into it maybe for the next meeting on the 23rd. If this is, it's 16-month waiting list for this?
Yeah, they said between 15 and 18 months.
Okay, so,
Unless they hire more people, they said it might be 12 months.
12 months, okay. Thank you. All right, anyone else? Nope, okay, perfect. Let's move on now to the pump station and the brick grant. Administrator, can you just start off with that, please?
Sure, it actually pains me to have to come before this public and this committee with the information that I have. As you can see, and this committee I kept you in the loop as rapidly it was coming in from me from the New Jersey Office of Emergency Management, as well as I attended a International Association of Emergency Managers meeting yesterday. Basically, the administration in Washington, D.C., through executive order, has pretty much eliminated brick grants. And they said if you didn't have your money in your bank account, you're never going to see it. I know today there was apparently 1,300 employees contacted at FEMA by the current administration saying you may want to strongly consider retirement or be RIFed, which is reduction in force, as they know down in the federal government. Again, in the meeting I attended yesterday, they said if you were awarded, which we were awarded the 1.9 in grant, but no money ever came through, that equals no money. You probably will never see it. This current administration is considering a new brick, but very far from certain if that'll ever happen. And even the state police lieutenant in charge of the grants, has issued a similar letter, which you all have in your packet, basically saying, again, if you didn't get the money, you can still proceed with your projects, but do that with caution and don't expect reimbursement from the federal government. So to that end, I would just suggest this committee strongly still consider moving ahead on the pump station. As far as the elevation of homes grants go, I will not tell homeowners to go out and spend money on raising your home, because I don't think you're going to see any money from FEMA. I would exercise caution. You're more than welcome to elevate the home, but it's going to be at your own cost.
So I asked this to be under discussion because I received this letter, I believe, April 7th, 2 days ago. And it is very specific. It has been canceled and you will not receive funding. So it's 1.9 million that we're not going to receive from this. And I did speak to Assemblywoman Swain this morning, and I believe it's extreme. There's 3 towns in Bergen County that have been affected by it, and one of them is Rochelle Park. And speaking with her, this 4.1 million that we're looking to do for the pump station, I believe, and it is my opinion, anybody can comment on it, should go forward. This pump station is in dire need. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. From what I'm understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I got from the head of the DPW, our superintendent, that it's pretty much held together, and I'm going to quote some words here, with bubble gum and Band-Aids. And that's not a good hearing anything like that is not good. So we're going to have to look at this. I will fight the fight. I am very good at fighting the fight when it needs to be. Now, this is now going to be on the taxpayers' backs because the president and whoever else was under him decided that this is not needed. Now, it could be restructured, I don't know. But at this point, we need to move forward. Unfortunately, if we had a pump station go down, which is quite old, we'd actually, from what I'm understanding, you'd have to bring in trucks to pump out the sewage. Good luck flushing your toilets. And that's going to be a major problem. It could actually, and again, in my opinion, make this town bankrupt. We cannot afford to wait on this. I would have loved to, I mean, we worked hard. I can tell you that. I was in meetings with administrator, pushing and getting it, and finally getting that award letter, which was a tremendous relief, and only to receive this letter, you're not getting it, it's canceled. So if you feel you'd like to reach out to your legislators, please feel free to do so. There is a big town hall meeting tonight, and I asked Assemblywoman Swain to please mention us, and mention us loud, because the next one I'm coming out, and I'm not going to be quiet. I don't believe this should be on the taxpayers' back. It's been many, many years being worked on, and I know I kept saying to our administrator, call Sylvia, call Sylvia, call Sylvia, and finally got a meeting, 2 meetings, whatever. It's a disappointment. But what's the biggest disappointment is that it's for helping our residents in this town. And that's my biggest concern. I'm sure it's the rest of the committee's concern too. Our job up here is to be concerned about the residents, and that's what we're going to do. So with that being said, if I could, get a nod or something to move forward, we're going to continue to do so. Does that seem to be where we want to go?
Absolutely.
Okay. Is there any comments at this point about that? Anybody?
I think you covered it.
Did I cover it? Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. So that's all we have on that discussion. And then we're going to move forward. Before the administrator report, if you don't mind, I'm just going to go out of order for 1 second. I would like to make a couple appointments here. Got a lot of papers up here. So hang on one second. These appointments are for, there's 3 openings in recreation. And if I mispronounce your name, I'm very, very sorry. I have Maribel Corpel, Lata Sakhu, as I'm saying that right? And Robert Frost. Race. Okay, those are the appointments to the recreation. And to Access for All, I have Deborah Kadira. I see Deborah here. So you are all appointed. Thank you so much, again, for volunteering your town. I know you'll be a wonderful, what's the best word? The best word would be, thank you, asset to each individual thing, right?
Absolutely.
Because as many people as we can get to help out on rec and Access for All, I think it'll move everything forward in a very productive way. But thank you for that. Now, Administrator's report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. And first and foremost, I just want to acknowledge Autism Awareness Month. When I first became chief, we embraced this month for several reasons, and it's actually since hired Officer Ferrulli, who has grown up with his sister and a family member. So the officers will be wearing their blue badges on their exterior vest carriers, and some still have the baseball cap that we did back in 2021 when I was brand new chief. So again, I didn't also want to let anybody know we were one of the first towns in Bergen County to sponsor the Blue Envelope program. And for those of you that don't know what it is, quickly, it's if someone is nonverbal yet has the ability to operate a vehicle, they can keep this blue envelope in their car and just hand that to the officer, and it lets the officer know. Matter of fact, Bergen County Prosecutor Musella reached out to me several months ago and said, hey, this program you're doing is amazing. I really want to take it throughout Bergen County. And then he represented it at a Chiefs Association meeting. And most towns are doing it now. And it's a valuable program because, again, officers may not be able to recognize somebody who's nonverbal, and, it can cause a bad situation that shouldn't be. So we're very proud of that, and I'm very proud of the membership of my department. That was brought to me by Lieutenant Stapleton a few years ago, and then again, Officer Ferrulli is really runs with the program, and he's looking to, we tried to get it in this year, didn't happen, but he wants to do an autism awareness, like a spring run. So we'll hopefully get that off the ground and going next year. All right, on to my administrator's report, Mayor. Thank you for indulging me in that. Revaluation letters, ladies and gentlemen, you should be receiving them soon. They're going out tomorrow. It's going to be a letter and a brochure. The letter will be on Township letterhead. The brochure will be within the Township envelope with that letter explaining to you the process of revaluation. So it is an official letter. If you wanted to get a look at it, we can have some in Town Hall, as well as they've been posted to social media and on the TV out front by the library. Excuse me. I am proud again, was notified recently this week that for fiscal year 2025, the New Jersey State Local Recreation Improvement Grant was awarded to Rochelle Park in the amount of $78,000, and those are for improvements to Carlock Field and Houghton Hall. So that's our second LRIG grant in the last 2 years. So we've made several improvements to Matthews Field and the field house, and we'll continue now with Carlock and Houghton Hall. I thought I was going to have good news about Rochelle Avenue, the repaving, the milling. Literally just got a text at the start of this meeting from my captain. Unfortunately, county engineering told the contractor they were putting in 4-inch diameter pipe and showed up with 8-inch diameter pipe. So the work's going to continue through Monday, just not on the weekend. So I apologize, folks, for the traffic. It was supposed to be done today. It's not going to be done today. However, milling and paving is still scheduled for the week of spring break, and that was, through the efforts of myself and Captain DePretta, pretty much telling the county we'd rather you close Rochelle Avenue end to end during spring break so as not to interfere with the school day. But at least Rochelle Avenue is going to get done, and we're going to have substantial drainage improvements to a small section of Rochelle Avenue that's been problematic for the last few years. Carlock Field, there's still ongoing work. Contractor expects to start building the pavilion on Monday, again, weather permitting. Also, the spray mister should be showing up, and he'll continue to do the work to be prepped for them, so when they do show up, all he'll have to do is erect those. There are some extra costs that are coming in for this project. As we've expanded, again, we discovered we had a lot more property behind where that shed, the old shed was. We've taken advantage of that property, expanded our flower beds, the stone walls, the walkway, the handicap access now is actually has been improved. There's been some changes to the wall and fencing there, so I may have to come back before this committee and ask for small, but a supplemental bond for that project, because we budgeted that pretty much to the penny, but with these changes, it happens. But again, I think that's going to be a project everybody will be proud of. The bocce ball courts are pretty much done. I don't know if they're open yet, but they're pretty much done. So if you have an opportunity, Carlock Field is open when they're not working. So again, you can still use the playground and the turf field. What we didn't mention, with the Bert Snayer resignation, again, I worked with Bert since 1991, 92. After I replaced Bob Davidson in 1995 as the DARE officer, she was doing the municipal alliance work and working with recreation back then. So I just want to say thank you to Bert. There was never a time I couldn't pick up a phone and actually, dial before cell phones and talk to Bert, and she would help me, with our projects that we were doing through Municipal Alliance. I also want to mention day camp registration is open. So if you have children that are going to be participating in day camp, please make sure you register. We are still looking for counselors. I have very few applicants for the position of counselor, so we'd like to get some help in that regard. Reference to the billboard, Mayor, continue to reach out to Clear Channel. Deputy Mayor Miller did get me a new contact. I got a response to an email saying she's kicking it up to her supervisor, and I should expect a phone call back. This will be the third time that's happened with Clear Channel, but I remain on it. And, willing to try to hammer that out where we can monetize those flips or turns, as they're called. And lastly, Mayor, as you remember, or you may recall, we had a shared service meeting with Committeeman Cherinsky and yourself and myself, as well as members from the Board of Education and Dr. DeNobly. Discussed was the review of a lot of the existing shared services that are conducted between the two entities. School made it clear, they provide their facilities for many recreation and township events, National Night Out, our concerts, basketball games, etc., softball and baseball. We have a monument on their property that requires lighting and water for the sprinkler systems. They pay for that. But the township also provides maintenance for that monument area. We salt their parking lot and the parking lot at William Street. They acknowledge that the DPW cleans up the grounds after township activities. We're not allowed to do that indoors, union rules with the custodians, but, we acknowledge the work done by each. We also talked about the SRO agreement, and the compensation for that, as well as future township development and the impact upon the Board of Ed, and, talked about how the township may want to consider, adding provisions to any types of developers agreements that, a lot for school funding if there's a population shift upwards in enrollment, as our Board of Ed members came here and talked about at last meeting. Also, technology sharing, the Deputy Mayor mentioned this before, our website is in dire need of upgrading. We talked about that with the Board of Ed using their IT person, who happens to be pretty skilled in that. And the possibility of moving a diesel generator, I did actually get a response. The big concern there is whether or not the DEP will allow, it has to meet the DEP emissions. So I have to do some more homework on that to find out if that generator can be moved from what currently generates electricity at the firehouse and EMS/OEM building to the school for our reasons that we use that as a shelter. And I also spoke to Boswell about, they're going to look into, they believe the generator spec'd out for the pump station and DPW building should be able to have enough power to provide that. But once I get that confirmation, I'll pass that along. But again, I just wanted to share that with the public because this wasn't, a meeting had between the two entities and trying to increase the services that we already provide to you, the taxpayer. And that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. So if I could add to that a little bit. Being passed on the Board of Education, their funding is not the greatest, so we want to do our best. Their revenue, they don't generate revenue that the township can. So I believe it is in the best interest that we try to do a shared service. It's not a lot, but it's something moving forward that I feel it all comes together out of the taxes, right? So we have to look and see what we can do to help them. It was a very productive meeting. There was some no's, I will tell you that, some requests, and I said no. But I think moving forward, sharing services does help quite a bit. I believe they said they had an increase in, I do see the vice president of the board here. Was it 49 children in the last couple of months, right? There was 49 children that.
The beginning of November.
Since the beginning of November, there's 49 children. I believe there was, from what I remember, 11 that were special needs within that. So that's quite a big, large amount of money that has to be there for those children. And they're required by law to do the education of those children from the age of 3 with special needs. That's the law. So, you know, we all try to work together. We are a community, and let's see what we can do, and hopefully in the best interest of everybody. That's all I have. Do you have anything, Council?
I'd like to just piggyback on what you said there, Teresa. Being at that meeting also, it was a very, very deep-seated concern about enrollment, not just for this year, but for next year. They're very concerned at the school level of enrollment of how many students are going to be brought into the district. The number I got on that takeaway was 46. It was 29 at Midland and 17
Well,
for
we
the
have a
high
vice
school.
president here, and I believe she said,
That's what I have from our meeting when we met,
Right.
Teresa, when we were there.
was it an increase since we met? Do you know if there was an increase? No, okay. All right, so we're close. We're
So-
close to the same ballpark.
And to further that conversation, it was a few years ago that we sat in the audience here asking for an agreement with
120.
120 over here because we were concerned that there would be an uptick in enrollment, and we had brought to the table some appropriate agreements that were not authorized at that time by the council, not to just grab money from a developer, but it was a safety valve agreement. If enrollment went up a certain amount, that these students would be covered by that development, and we never got it. So today, right now, you know, we are in the position, or the school's in the position, partially because of our lack of being able to get those agreements. I was very upset about it when I was in the public. I was very upset about it when I was on the Board of Ed, as well as many others shared that concern that's here. But we can't let that happen. We can't continue like this. So,
Yes, okay.
anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, very good. Let's move forward then. May I have a motion to open to public?
I'll make the motion.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone nays, abstentions? Okay, very good. Open to public right now. Thank you.
Okay, if you can please just state your name and the town in which you reside. There's a 3-minute limitation. If your comment, the mayor has the option to extend it 3 minutes. And if your comments require a response that we're able to deliver to you this evening, we will do so.
We have to power that on.
I don't know if it's turned on. Yeah, just push it, yeah.
It's cordless, I can run around.
Great.
Good evening.
Hello, Mr. Davidson.
Number one, about the pump station. I'm devastated to hear this.
Can you speak a little?
Reference to the pump station, I'm devastated to hear this news tonight. It's something that I can honestly say that I was involved in, and not just because of me, but throughout the number of years. Look, we tried so hard to get this done, and now this is what happens. And it's going to be a tremendous burden on the taxpayers, there's no question about it. At least we have a little bit of relief from that $600,000 that we have from COA. A little bit, not a whole bunch, and I was directly involved in that. The other thing is that please, you have to do this. There's no question about it. I mean, if I would have never even proposed doing this as the former administrator, if I didn't think it was so necessary to be done. And believe me, it will affect every homeowner in this community and the businesses as well. The other thing is that I'm interested to find out, because of the situation with the pilot program, do we know how many students are coming from that building?
I believe it was 11, I believe.
I believe it.
Yeah, that was the 11.
So there was a total of 11 that came out of there. And how about, do we know what the additional apartments, because
So the addresses vary. Some are on Collins, some are 53 Central, Oak Street apartments, yeah. So it was, you know, but there's also some that are just single-family residences.
Right, I mean, listen, quite honestly, the town is starting to get younger.
You know, and the school is doing their due diligence. They're going to do a population study, I believe it's called.
Demographics.
I'm sorry, thank you. Yeah, no, I was actually looking at you, Christina, but you had your head down. I want to be correct, so thank you, yes.
So anyways, so I was just wondering what the numbers were there, because, again, I mean, very unfortunately, I was involved with that whole pilot program, but I don't have a vote. So I'll just leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Anyone else? Yes? Hi. Good.
My name is Sharon Steinhardt. I'm actually a resident in Paramus, but I am here on behalf of the Learning Experience. It's a proposed possible child care facility that can come into the town, which I think would do amazing. I've been with this company for over 12 years. I oversee the Northeast, so 91 locations. Would love if this could be 92. I really feel, just even speaking about education, I'm an educator, I have my master's, it could benefit your town, it could benefit everything having another school. What's so wonderful about the learning experience is everything is all-inclusive. So if a family does join our facility, it's not like they'd have to pay extra to have their child do soccer, right? That's the saddest thing. If you see a child, you know, why didn't mommy pay for me to do it? So everything's inclusive, enrichment, food, everything. I just truly think there are actually 8 families I noticed that attend other learning experience facilities about 10 minutes out in both Hackensack and the Paramus locations because we don't offer that quality child care here in the town. So yeah, I'm here on behalf of them. I just think it would be a great addition to the Rochelle Park town.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Susan Yakabuchi,
Yes.
Ward Street. I came on after the pilot was in effect and after it had been signed. We were told in the planning meetings that the majority of the housing for affordable housing would be in 1-bedrooms, which backed up the pilot agreement that there wouldn't be any impact to the schools. The majority, I think there were 23 units we needed or something. There were like 12 or 13 of them would be 1-bedrooms, 1 or 2 2-bedrooms, and only 1 or 2 3-bedrooms. Last year, when I went through a tour over there, the 3-bedrooms are all allocated for affordable housing, and they won't tell you how many. So they weren't completely honest. You should get it in writing if you do a pilot, how many 1-bedrooms, because that was the impact on the school. That was the whole discussion.
I believe when they had the discussion on that, I do remember being in the audience, and I do remember I was the president of the board at the time, and I remember approaching and saying the same thing that you're saying.
Yeah.
Where is it in writing?
Exactly.
Now, you could have 1 bedroom and still have, 2 children if you wanted to.
No, I don't think you're allowed.
You're limited by how many people are in a 1-bedroom.
Yeah.
By what statute? What statute would limit you on
You
that?
can't have 20 people in a 1-bedroom.
Well,
There's laws about that.
I know that, oh, believe me, I know the laws. I happen to know somebody who does the inspections on 3-family and above. But if there was a 1-bedroom, does not mean you can have 1 child or 2 children in that bedroom. There's no restriction that I know of that. I wouldn't say 20, but I would probably say,
But it
what do
wasn't,
you think,
it wasn't
Council? What
sold
would be
to the
that mean?
town like that. That's my point.
Oh, you're
It
saying
was
that they sold it that way? That's what
Exactly.
you're-
They
okay.
sold it to the town as the majority is 1-bedroom, no children. You get 2-bedroom, maybe you'll have 1 child.
Shut up!
Whoa. All right,
I
time
can't hear this person.
All right,
And there's
okay.
a comment in the audience that
Mr.
is
Quinn.
disturbing the
All right,
audience.
so everybody calm down, please. All right, thank you. Council, with that 1 and 2 bedrooms, is there?
Shut up!
Mr. Quinn, I will ask you, please.
She keeps grumbling.
Okay.
She just said, haven't you drop dead yet?
Oh, okay.
Who puts her in her place?
Okay, wait,
She
just
said
everybody
that.
okay, stop, or I will close to open. I will close to open. Please, everybody stop. Thank you. Council, what do you say on this 1 2-bedroom?
Well, you can't have, if it's a 1-bedroom apartment, you can't have another room utilized for a bedroom. That would
Right.
probably be a fire code violation. As to the number of people that reside in a 1-bedroom, I'm not aware of any.
I don't know any laws. Do you know them, Ms. Bartolo, that you're stating?
I used to live in apartments and there was limitations. I don't know the exact numbers, but I
It might
could
be
not
their
have.
agreement, I'm not sure, but I don't
No,
know the
you-
state statute of that. But I can find out. I will find out if there's a state statute that limits the amount, because,
It depends on the size,
Husband,
yes.
wife, or,
Yes, you can have 2 people, possibly 3, but it depends.
I don't think you're-
Studio apartments have less people, even though that's still considered a 1-bedroom. It depends on the size. It's not one size fits all. But I'm just saying that there are limitations to people, to the amount of people. in one bedroom, two bedroom, three bedroom.
If there is a restriction, it would probably be a fire code restriction.
Correct.
Right.
So maybe our fire code official is aware of how many people.
Or maybe our building code official would know that. No? You don't know? It's not a fire code? No, I didn't think so. Okay, well, anyway,
That's-
moving forward, thank you for.
That's immaterial. What my
Sorry?
point was, that's immaterial.
Right.
Because my point was it was sold as the majority being one bedroom, no kids, and that's the school impact. That was the whole issue. So.
But I remember, did you just start off by saying you came in after the pilot?
Yes.
So I'd like to, maybe somebody who was during the pilot could also explain what was happening.
Possibly.
Thank you very much.
But I was very surprised when I went over there and I asked them how many 3 bedrooms. She said, I don't know. This was the leasing agent. And I said, well, how many are affordable housing units? And she said, I don't know, but those are all the 3 bedrooms. So that was a little different.
Got it.
Just wanted to make
Thank
that
you very
point.
much. Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Mr. Hassel?
Mine is a very simple thing. Representing the parade committee, I sent emails to all the committee people, and we just need to know within the next week and a half, who and how many people from the committee will be marching/driving in the parade, so we can put them in the order.
Well, I know I plan on to do it. I don't know if everybody else.
I mean, I know
we
you
may
have other
just get-
commitments, like
I'll be there.
your kids.
I'll be
Okay,
there,
good.
right? You'll be Miss PTU.
Marching with, okay, good, so at least 3.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
We may get Matt's Mustang to come out again. And
I
we
didn't
can all
ask,
just
march
ride
or
in
drive
that.
is fine.
We'll
I
see.
just-
But I think, Matt, are you going to be here? Are you
Yes,
gonna
I will be there.
Yeah, okay, so you got 5.
I didn't know if you had commitments,
I'll be there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Hello.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ian Gensler. I'm a regional manager for the Learning Experience as well, and I just would be remiss if I didn't talk to you a little bit more about our program that we offer for young families as well, too, after listening to that beautiful proclamation for autism awareness here. So our centers always strive to create inclusive environments for our families and our children, and also we have a proprietary curriculum that actually also teaches young children developmentally appropriate ways of what inclusion looks like as well too. So I thought that was a nice little piggyback to what you shared so beautifully with us earlier. So thank you for that.
Very much. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, hang on. Are you with the same? Yeah. Okay, just 1 second. I'm going to have a resident of the town, please.
Linda Boniface, Township Committee, 2018 through 2023, 33 Parkway.
Thank you.
Yes, if you read any of the pilot stuff, if you sat on this committee, you knew exactly how many 3 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 1 bedroom. I don't know what meeting these other people were sitting in, but it was laid out to you exactly how it went.
Thank you.
And that was a warning, but there was also pilots that went on in Hackensack that didn't get nearly the amount of kids they predicted, so you never know.
Right.
Okay, let's go with a couple things. First of all, the pump station, I'm devastated too. And I just wish, when I first got on the Township Committee, we were told how bad that pump station was. There's the main valve in case of flooding that goes out to in case of a shutdown of the pumps. So basements and the sewers don't back up through town, was frozen shut. And that was lack of maintenance over years. I pushed early on. I want you to look into the Infrastructure Trust Bank for funding. They give low-interest loans, sometimes 0%. It's a state thing, Infrastructure Trust Bank. I brought that up how many years ago? I think, Dean, you know about it.
You know about it.
Yeah. To the chief, do the officers ever pay for training on their own?
There'll be some classes officers will go to on their own, correct?
How much is in this police forfeiture fund?
I think we currently have about 220,000.
Yeah, okay, I'm just asking. I talked to a police officer up in Fort Lee, they've had some,
They have millions. Yeah, they also have officers assigned to federal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're a lot different.
Is any of the work being done on Rochelle Ave for the Route 17 widening? I find it funny that work is being done. Okay.
No, if you don't mind, if you.
please,
So, as a matter of fact, they cut out probably about $500,000 of additional storm drain repairs that should be done here. They're gonna, who cut that out? The county. Joe Femia made an executive decision because he says, look, in 5 to 6 years, we're going to be expanding that road, and we're going to have to put it all in anyway. So they're doing some Band-Aid and bubble gum work, but what's being done right now needs to be done. So, but this has nothing to do with the widening project.
Okay, I'm just asking because
Understood?
I find it funny that they're doing all this and then going to.
Well,
I know.
You
it's
laughed
only
at the letter when we got it.
Yeah. The other thing I want to talk about is the budget. I first got on the township committee, the budgets, and I may run a little over on the budget,
Go ahead, please.
Mayor. The budgets were bare minimum. The governing body up there was 0%, and your utilities, even in your own home, your utilities go up. The contractual salaries go up. Yet every year, the same bunch was calling for a 0 raise. No new revenue source was coming in anywhere. Really, nothing was being built. This promise of this building being built, but under a pilot agreement, we're not getting the right amount. And they would cut the budget to the bare bone. Mr. Davidson knows exactly what I'm talking about. Then came the thought of a new revenue source, cannabis. And I can remember being up here and 2 councilwomen trying to knock it down. Saying their SC, they were given misinformation. Let's put it that way. More than they were fed misinformation. Cannabis came in, the revenue source came in, unheard of revenue. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Davidson. $500 and something thousand in the first year from April on. And they jeopardized the retail license for Ascend by pulling their license a week before they were to start until a Republican state senator from District 39 was hired as their lawyer. Then it got reinstated a week later. And this helps the residents of this town. Well, instead, $1.9 million in 2 years, the budget explodes. And I see why you're cutting back. I warned then cannabis revenue would not stay high. I knew it because I had talked to a doctor about it and was telling me about cannabis in California. When it first came out, record money.
Yeah.
And then it dwindled.
Right.
The sales went down. Maybe we just open another facility. I saw it on the thing.
May we just said, I didn't hear.
So what I'm just trying to say is I understand the budget cuts here. And if anybody has sat on the township committee and really worked on what a budget would do, you know why there's cuts up here. When we were under that little bit of money, the chief had bad tasers. Were they tasers, stun guns, whatever they were?
Tasers, you're right.
And I fought for them, $7,500, and they were denied. The police department was denied those things, and, the chief said the same thing. We can work with it. Luckily enough, Glen Rock lent them, or gave them their older ones. But there's cuts. That's the way it is. When the revenue source for the town isn't as high, first it explodes. Now you talk about Edmonds. Kathy, I spoke to you about Edmonds how many years ago? Edmonds, cannabis money could have paid for Edmonds. You know what I'm saying? If it was not exploded in the budget. And I understand why they're tightening the belt. Because the revenue is not where it was. So I just want people to understand, it's moving Rochelle Park forward. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I have the actual numbers.
Mr. Hahn?
Walter Houghton, Rochelle Park, Chairman of the Access for All Committee. I would like to thank the office staff, the town council, and the recreation for allowing Access for All the ability to set up a sensory tent for opening day. It was a big success. I do have to say a lot of the kids were intrigued and wanted to come in, but once I explained to them that it was a sensory tent, they understood and went about their business. However, I did have one young man who came in and he said, "Can I go in?" And I explained to him what it was, and he said, well, I'm having a bad day.
Oh,
And I said, well, then you want to go inside and play? And he certainly did. And that's what makes it all worthwhile, when you get that 1, 2 individuals. Because then he said, can my brother come in? And I said, sure. And then his brother came over and saw that his brother, who's not like the other kids, running around playing, was okay and happy. He went about and played. That's what my committee's about, to bring the families to the events and allow the individuals that need the separation, the place to separate, and those that don't can go on about their business. So if there's anybody that would like to volunteer for my committee, please reach out to me. I'll gladly talk to you about it, and let's try and make everything better. Okay.
Mr. Houghton, thank you, first of all, for the donation of the flag. I know that Mr. Miller had mentioned it earlier. We very much appreciate it. We very much appreciate Access for All at being these events. I was at the opening day baseball. I saw all those children. Wonderful, wonderful job. I just appointed Mrs. Kadira tonight to Access for All. She asked to be there because I believe she'd be a great asset to you guys. And, if you want to talk to each other about it, you could. Again, I did see those children in the tent, and I saw how loving and kind you were to them and helping them because they were having a bad day, right? So I would have liked to gone in. I'm one of these days I might climb in there too, having a bad day. But this is something that is much needed. Yeah, this is much needed and muchly appreciated. And thank you for moving this forward. Anyone else, please?
They didn't build it, those vacant land. Basically, we're all
Hi there.
My name is Melissa Rodriguez. I'm a regional manager from the Learning Experience. The site that we're looking at is 120 West Prospect Street. But I'm here to
We don't have a West Prospect.
I'm sorry, West Passaic. Sorry.
Okay.
I am here more as a parent. Both of my children went through the Learning Experience. Both of them are in public school now, or kindergarten or in second grade. Both of them are bored because everything the Learning Experience has to offer. Sign language we do Spanish or Mandarin. We have enrichment programs. So they went into kindergarten on a first grade reading level, and I really believe as a parent and a regional manager that the children in this area will benefit from our program.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else? Mrs. Kadira.
Hi, Debbie Kandira, 43 North Drive. I just want to piggyback off of Mr. Houghton, and I also want to thank the entire committee for this proclamation and the whole Access for All process. But now I want to speak as a parent. And the reason why this is really touching my heart right now is he's going to be 30 years old, my son. And for many years, there were many Rochelle Park days and events at the schools that I have 3 other children, okay, that I personally did not go to because I felt that I couldn't bring him there. I personally didn't feel comfortable, okay? Now he's a man, but that doesn't take away how I felt when he was a child.
Right.
Regardless of their age, it is so important that we as a community are accepting to see all children want to get together with children with problems, special needs, and work together. That's why I raised my children, to be accepting of all, to see all children and all even adults to be accepting like that will be such an amazing process in this town. And for a little 1 square mile town, if we can achieve this, this would be a truly great thing. So I personally, I would like to nominate my daughter for this committee too. She's a BCBA, extremely knowledgeable. I'm going to have her send in her paper.
Yes, I would love to appoint her there. I know.
Yeah, it is a really great thing that we're doing here, and I really wish I got involved in it sooner. And I was, again, afraid to branch out more because I felt that I had so many limitations, and that was a mistake because I would like to see us move forward with this. And I really want to thank the committee and Mr. Houghton for what they're doing. Thank you.
Ms. Godiva, I can tell you this, that this year is really where it started a lot to branch. It was there last year, really not too much, but this year it's in full gear, thanks to Mr. Houghton And it is for children, but it is for adults too. You know, if adults need to just get a timeout sometimes, as we all know. And I did say in my speech that the parents have to deal with special needs. It can burn them out sometimes. It's a lot of work. I do have a family member with special needs. And I watch my parents go through a lot. That being said, Mr. Houghton has brought this up tremendously and is getting more and more volunteers. And I understand we'll be at all the events. We have the Easter egg hunt coming up, right? Unless it rains, I'm not sure.
Sorry, yes. It might be postponed until next Saturday.
It may be because
Due
of
to
the
the
rain.
weather.
Yeah, because I know it's supposed to be pretty dismal out. But you know, we're going to move forward, and we're just going to keep going forward. And that's what we are, a community. I grew up here. I'm here many, many years. And I know your family very well for all those years. But this used to be a very tight community, right? And then something happened, everybody helped. We need to bring it back there, and that's what we're trying to do. And everybody here is trying to bring that back to make sure we're here for everyone. No matter what your needs are, special needs, just even to say
Whatever
hello.
your need is.
Right.
Exactly.
Thank you
very
Mr.
much.
Debbie, stay there for 1 second. I also
Would you
want
like
to
to speak?
recognize you for your commitment to the volunteering. And I've known Debbie and I've known the family since we moved into town in '87. And we've raised children together, and I've watched you commit yourselves to volunteering. So you have volunteered in the past.
Try.
Yes, you have, and
Yes,
you
you
are,
have.
and
Oh, yes,
there
you
is no days, there are no days wasted. And, you know, today is a perfect day to start with the new Access for All, but you're going to be an asset to the town. You always have been, and you're going to be an asset to the kids. And you know, no one I could think of better to be involved with this. Thank you for stepping up.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything to say? No? Okay. Anyone? Okay. Okay, Mr. Quinn. Hello.
I want to apologize to the committee for losing my temper. I'm here to listen to the problems of the town. I'm kind of have a little history here. You didn't shut her down, and you yelled at me.
No.
You
No,
raised your
I
gavel
don't.
like
I
I
just
was
said
out of
everybody.
order.
Mr. Quinn, I said everybody.
I know
Not
you did.
just you. I
You
did not-
stopped in
like
time.
everybody
Thank
stopped.
you.
Thank you.
I just want to apologize to everybody. I did not mean to lose my
I
temper.
understand.
But that person has annoyed me for years. And so she got under my skin. You didn't shut her down. She
I
was
did.
harassing the lady that was up here, and you let that continue. That was out of order. So I lost my temper, and then I
Counsel, did I
apologize.
try to shut it down? Counsel?
First of all, I have to say that we couldn't hear what she was saying. You were quite loud. But when
Yes,
it was brought
I
to the
raised
mayor,
my
let me
voice.
just finish, sir. When it was brought to the mayor's attention that she was making comments, the mayor said that
You're
to stop.
absolutely right.
So it wasn't that she ignored it, it's just that I couldn't hear what she was saying anyway. But once it was brought to the attention of the mayor, she shut it down.
Thank you very much. As far as the pumps situation,
The pump station?
the politicians were talking about this in the 50s, about it was obsolete. Now, they've said they were repaired back in the 60s because they were so bad then. So it's an ongoing problem.
Yes.
It shouldn't surprise anybody today that we knew about this 70 years ago, and we didn't do anything about it. Thank you for taking the action today. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, thank you for listening to all of us, and we'll get out of here.
Thank you.
My name is Nadia. I'm also a regional manager with the Learning Experience, and I just wanted to kind of speak to the people who we work with. So I work with 12 centers, and they're all owned by families who needed a place to bring their children, and that's why they opened the Learning Experience in my areas. And they employ people from the neighborhoods who also bring their children into our centers as well. So it just pays back, and all of these families are very into, all I'm hearing from everyone here is that you want to build a community, and they are always putting back into the communities around them. So
Okay.
thank you for giving us the time.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Anyone else? Oh.
Yakabuchi on Ward Street. I just want to go back because many of you weren't here for the cannabis experience when it was in its founding days, when it was passed. We had a medical facility that Gail had been a part of approving, which was Ascend. When the state approved the retail, there were meetings with the State Regulatory Commission, which I was a part of, or I listened to anyway. It wasn't dialogue. And so we were able to, what they did first was they passed the law and said, if you don't abide by the law and pass it, you have to accept all licenses. Now, there are 5 or 6 licenses that are attached to cannabis. Some of them would have been very, very not conducive to this town. They're high energy. It took a lot more. Converting to retail was the way we decided to go. But you had to deny it. You had to say, we don't accept any cannabis except for the medical in order to decide to go forward with the retail. So that's what we did. We denied it. We had an ordinance put in place to deny all cannabis except for the medical, and with the agreement that we would develop an ordinance for retail in the future. So the big brouhaha came with outside counsel. I was lucky enough to find the chairman of the New Jersey State Bar Association for cannabis regulation. And Bob Davidson was smart enough to negotiate a flat fee of $5,000 to represent the town. That was very, very, in fact, Linda and I worked on that with outside counsel. So it was always going to be, as Ascend was the only one in the state that was approved, so they were the first to open. It was always going to be, as the other people got their act together and could open these places, competition would drive their revenue down. They knew that. And they told us that medical tax would go away eventually. They're not going to be taxing medical. So there's just a little history there. Yes, we did deny it all with the understanding that we were going to pass a retail license, which we did. And the licensing fees they're staggered. It takes a lot of time to understand that. So just to clarify that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, and I could add to that because she had mentioned that I was there for that. So when it was first approved, before that deadline came, when it could be approved, there was moving targets. There was not clear information, and there was nothing to go by because it was a brand new rule. So there were 6 different uses, and if you didn't vote, or if you said yes, you cannot change your mind to no. But if you said no, you can change your mind to yes. You couldn't undo yes for the cannabis. You could not undo a yes vote because they were concerned that people might change their mind, or townships might change their mind. So we voted no for all, and it was trying to remember the timing, probably about 3 months or so, until we got everything in place, and that was all the money that we were going to get. And we actually ended up getting more money because we said no, and we had that firm helping us, and we were able to, it was a unanimous yes when we changed it over, and it actually benefited the town. She also mentioned that I voted for it on the planning board because it did come as a medical facility before it was legalized for recreational use. So I had voted yes for that on the planning board, and then we had moved forward with it in the year 2021. The deadline, I believe, was in August, and we had worked to get all that information, get the firm in place, get the highest amount of money that we could, and then vote for the uses that we thought were beneficial to the town.
Thank you. So let's just sum this up. At the beginning, it was tremendous. There were a lot of money, as you put it. Right now, that money, that revenue money that was there, basically is coming down and down. And we know this from our budgets.
We knew that was going to happen,
right.
But when it first came through,
They knew it the whole time.
Hang on 1 second. So, what the point basically is at this point is that we had the money there. I believe the person that was speaking about it stated something. It should have been used for Edmonds or something else. That's a past. Right now, we're looking at what the revenue is now, and it's dwindling. So we have to be very careful. I believe it was referring to the budget more than anything else of the revenue that we're getting now. But thank you for your clarification.
Yeah, it was just to clarify the history.
Thank you very much.
Andrew Matson.
Mr. Matson.
14 Eldorado Court, and a resident of this town. I don't know if everybody here is a resident. I missed the good part, so Michaela, I hope you get the meeting up soon. I don't know, I hear this self-congratulatory thing going on about what happened with cannabis, and I know I see people in the meeting tonight that don't normally come, and I think what's going on is there's a lot of misdirection, and all that really matters is they're telling you they knew the revenue was going to go down over the course of the period of time. They not only knew it, they were told it, and they increased what they were giving out in the budget with that cannabis money. So either they didn't care, there was negligence, or they knew that eventually us as taxpayers were going to have to make up that difference and they were going to raise our taxes. So whoever sat down for this meeting or that meeting and got whatever lawyer to help, doesn't matter. That's not what's being talked about. It's the budget, it's what are our taxes going to look like, and who is responsible. And now there's good leadership that are going to put the actual residents of this town first, and they're letting us know cuts have to be made. And it doesn't matter who sat down with who way back when to bring cannabis to this town and how it was done. What matters is the money was wasted. That money could have been used to help this town, and I don't think it was. And that's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mattson. Anyone else? Okay, hearing or seeing no one, may I have a motion to close the public?
Motion?
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Apici?
Yes.
Committeewoman Artola?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Yes.
Committeeman Twinski?
Yes.
And Mayor Judge Correll?
Yes, thank you. So next we have ordinances for introduction. Ms. Michaela, would you read ordinance 1229-25?
Yes. Mayor Judge Correll asks for a motion to introduce by title on the first reading, ordinance number 1229-25 by way of resolution number 025-126. An ordinance to provide for and determine the maximum annual salaries of various municipal employees of the Township of Rochelle Park, and be published in full in the Bergen Record with notice of public hearing to be held on April 23rd, 2025.
So just to answer that for 1 second, this is where we have the stipend for the fire department mechanic, and I believe the stipend is 500 added on to this. So may I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
May I have a second?
Second?
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Apici?
Yes.
Committeewoman Artola?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Committeeman Twinski?
Yes.
Mayor Judge Correll?
Yes. Okay, now ordinance introduction of 1230-25.
Mayor Judge Correll asks for a motion to introduce by title on the first reading ordinance number 1230-25 by way of resolution number 025-127. An ordinance to amend Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 73, entitled Cats and Other Animals of the Township Code of the Township of Rochelle Park, State of New Jersey, and it be published in full in the Bergen Record with notice of public hearing to be held on April 23rd, 2025.
Now, Mr. Administrator, would you give a little explanation on this, please, Dean?
Yes, the chickens have flown the coop.
Yeah, the chickens, yeah, no more chickens. No, this is an ordinance to kind of rescind all of that. Thank you for putting it that way. Appreciate that.
You're welcome, Mayor.
Okay. So, may I have a motion, please?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Apici?
Yes.
Committeewoman Artola?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Committeeman Twinski?
Yes.
Mayor Judge Correll?
Yes. All right, so the next is ordinance for adoption, ordinance number 1225-25. Ms. Michaela, would you please read that?
Mayor Judge Correll asks for a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance number 1225-25, an ordinance to amend Chapter 185 entitled Land Use and Development Regulations of the Township Code of the Township of Rochelle Park, State of New Jersey.
So may I have a motion to open public, please?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And nays, abstentions? Okay, open to public for discussion on this ordinance. Mr. Davidson?
All I'm asking is, can we give a brief synopsis?
Sure can. Mr.
Mr. Scatino?
Mr. Scatino?
You have a copy?
This is I believe, for, outdoor guns? No. I'm sorry, what did you say, James? The tennis review, yes, I'm sorry. tenant reviews, the removal of tenancy reviews.
So on the land use board, the tenant reviews have been removed with this ordinance if it passes, so that the tenant review doesn't have to come in front of the land use board anymore. We were losing, from what I understand, we were losing businesses by going through that, and they would just go to other towns that didn't have it. Quite a few towns surrounding us don't have tenant review for opening businesses in town. So to hopefully get more people opening our businesses and coming to our town for it, we're asking this to be removed from that. And we did speak to Mr. DiMaria, our building official, and he recommended also. So, anybody else from the public? May I have a motion to close the public?
I'll make the motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions, nays? Okay.
I have one question, Teresa.
This is adopting of the ordinance.
Just
Just go ahead.
a quick question, or just a quick statement. This is for for businesses that are of a like, right? Business to business.
Well, it's for any business that does not require a variance or site plan approval. Obviously, if they still need a variance or site plan approval, they have to go to the board. If it's a business that is a permitted use in the zone and doesn't require any relief from the board, then they will not have to appear before the board, because the board really is not approving it. They have no basis to deny a tenant moving into a building if it's permitted use. So as the mayor stated, to remove what could be costly and time-consuming, both to the landlord and the prospective tenant, that requirement will no longer be required by our ordinance.
Okay. Great, thank you. All right, Ms. McKenna? Would you read that? Yes.
All items listed below are considered to be routine.
No, no,
Sorry,
no,
we
no.
have to vote.
No, we have to vote.
You
Mayor
just
Judge
did.
Gravella asked
That
for a
was
motion.
the
That was the.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We need to vote on this.
Mayor Judge Grell asked for a
Okay,
motion to
yeah,
close the public hearing on this ordinance and that it be adopted with notice of final passage to be published in the Bergen Record.
May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Tommy, right? And
I'll
second,
second.
Jen? Okay. Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Apici?
Yes.
Committeewoman Artola?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Committeeman Truinsky?
Yes.
And Mayor Judge Grell.
Yes. Okay, so next we're going to go to the resolutions. All items listed below are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the Township Committee. They'll be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a committee member or citizen request, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda as part of the general orders. So we have, let me just read these off so everybody gets those. Resolution, they all start with 025. We're going to go 128, 129, 130, 131, 132, 133, 134, 135, 136, 137, 138.
I have to recuse myself from 134.
Okay, so 134. And you have to recuse yourself?
He works for me in Wallington.
He works in Wallington with you? Okay, no problem. Okay. So I may have a motion recusing, Ms. Peach is being recused from 134. May I have a motion for all of the other, including 134, with her recusal?
Motion.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
A roll call, please.
Committeewoman Apici?
Yes.
Committeewoman Artola?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Committeeman Truinsky?
Yes.
And Mayor Judge Grell.
Yes. Okay, so right now we're going to go into closed session. The matters related to litigation, negotiation, and attorney-client review. I do not see any action being taken afterwards. So the next meeting is a public meeting on April 23rd, 2025. And may I have a motion? We'll come out to adjourn it after we're finished with closed session. All right, let's go into closed session. May I have a roll call to go into closed session, please?
Committeewoman Apici?
Yes.
Committeewoman Artola?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Committeeman Truinsky?
Yes.
Mayor Judge Grell.
Yes. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here this evening.
My alarm is all over.
Oh, really?
I was trying. Full order. We have a motion to come out of close and to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
May I have a second? Second. Roll call.
Committeewoman Apici? Yes. Committeewoman Artola?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller? Committeeman Truinsky?
Yes.
Mayor Joe Sabella?
Yes, meeting adjourned. Have a very nice day.
Thank you.